EdgeCrete Webinar, Paver Restraint in a Bag. Hi, I'm Jay Kreck, the Director of Technical Support and Training for SEK Sherban, and today we're going to talk about EdgeCrete, Paver Restraint in a Bag. There are many different types of materials that can be used for paver edge restraint. Some of them good, some of them bad. Landscape edging is not an appropriate edge for paver edge restraint. Plastic extruded edging, there's even some paver edge restraints that are extruded plastics that are not appropriate. They just don't have enough strength to be able to support the system and hold the bedding sand in addition to the pavers. Can we agree just not to go there? Let's raise the bar and not talk about those today. But rather, let's talk about good quality contractor grade products. Like plastic edge restraints and aluminum and steel versions of those that are actually made for paver edge restraint. You can even take natural stone, large pieces, turn it on edge, bury a good portion of it. That will add some strength. Pavers done the same way on edge. Maybe even put into some concrete, small batch concrete toe as well. Those are a good entry point. They allow enough strength for the system. Some of them are more decorative than others. Others are meant not to be seen at all. This should also be considered for the do-it-yourself market as well. And then we can step up to granite curbs and poured-in-place concrete street curbs. Both of those would add additional strength to that system, but unfortunately they can be cost prohibitive and typically require a lot of specialized equipment. And then the best option I think that's out in the marketplace is actually manufactured, packaged, engineered concrete toe. Has everything you need in a bag and ready to go. And commercial HDPE injection molded plastic paver edge restraints make good choices for paver edge restraints. Here's a good example of what happens when you use poor edging. You'll have all kinds of deficiencies. You'll have sloughing shoulders on your soldier cores. You can get the paver pattern will start to creep and move around. It just isn't what the system was designed for. So we need to make sure we're using a substantial edge restraint to hold our system together. Here we have a typical cross-section of a segmental paver system. You'll have an excavation. Down low in the excavation, you'll place a geotextile for separator and strength. Then we'll also have a thickness of base material. It may be 3/4 inch minus or open graded stone, depending on the system design. The depth of that is determined by the load that you're going to be carrying. On top of that, we'll put a setting bed, sand, or smaller chip, again, depending on your design, and then pavers on top of that. To hold all that together, we'll use a good quality, high strength edge restraint. A couple of things that the edge restraint is responsible for is holding the paver in place, but it's also responsible for holding the setting bed in place as well. So its proper location needs to be down on top of the base material. So we're going to have to make sure that we get it there in order to properly install that. You can use snap edge and EdgeCrete in both a conventional base, a 3/4 inch minus base, and they also can be put in on an open graded base. The key here is to make sure that you overbase enough to be able to support the edge restraint system that you're putting into place. Concrete toe has been around for a long time, and it basically is a combination of sands and gravels and Portland cement hand mixed on a job site, put into place adjacent to the edge of your surface, natural stone or pavers, troweled into some shape, and then we call that an edge. Some issues with that small batch concrete toe made on site is that there's no formal installation instructions. They're kind of handed down, if you will, from one crew member to the next. It can be rather difficult to mix. You can get out of sequence and forget if you've added enough sand or enough Portland cement. It affects the quality of that. Tends to be inconsistent in its strength due to that. Most of the time, concrete toe is placed too high on the edge of your surface, and that tends to brown out the turf if you're growing that right up next to the edge. Let's talk about a solution to those issues. Our solution is EdgeCrete. EdgeCrete is a polymer modified concrete, and this polymer adds a lot of flexibility, freeze-thaw resistance, and adhesion to the pavement edge. Does not happen on small batch concrete. It also adds dual fibers pre-mixed into the bag. This is a 36-hour break test that we did, and you can see the energy needed to be able to break that, and at no point do those pieces come apart. The fibers are holding it together, both fine and large fibers at work. Think of them like small rebar inside of that system. EdgeCrete's water management technology allows for consistent quality and strength every time you install EdgeCrete. No more guessing about how much water to add to that concrete. With EdgeCrete, all you need is 1/2 gallon of water per bag of EdgeCrete. Make sure that you recess that edge. That allows EdgeCrete to be down low enough to engage in the bottom shoulder on that paver, holding in the paver as well as the bedding sand, and that allows you to get some dirt over the top of that and give that turf a chance to grow next to the edge and will not brown out as easily as putting that concrete toe too tall on that edge. Cost-effective packaging comes in 50-pound plastic bags just like PolySweep. You can nest all those bags together, and in most cases are recyclable. And can be used on both open graded permeable bases and on the standard base as well. In order to store EdgeCrete, it can be stored in its original bag out of the weather in a dry location. It's not temperature sensitive, so we don't have to freeze protect it. If you've used PolySweep, it's the same great bag that PolySweep comes into. It's in 50-pound bags, 56 bags to a pallet, very easy to move around the job site, and you will yield approximately 17 to 13 linear feet of a triangular shaped application, depending on permeable or standard base. We make EdgeCrete as easy to install as possible, and that includes our directions. On the back of our cell sheet, you will find that we have 6 easy steps for installing EdgeCrete. We've put them there in terms of pictures, and we also have them in word paragraphs, so it's very easy to follow along. You will also notice that on the back of the bag of EdgeCrete, we also have those same instructions, also in English and Spanish, making them very easy to follow. So let's look into how do we install EdgeCrete. We'll take advantage of those 6 picture steps that we have. We first need to understand that there are some installation conditions. We would like the temperature to be above 32 degrees when you're installing EdgeCrete. If you need to install below that, you will have to frost protect those portions of EdgeCrete. Frost blankets work out very well for that. Also, you can install EdgeCrete in a light rain, but if it's going to be in heavy rainfall, postpone your job site and wait until the weather cooperates. So step 1, prior to compacting, we're going to remove some of that bedding material that's outside of your edge of your pavers or your natural stone. That's where we're going to install the EdgeCrete. We want to make sure that we get that overbase cleaned off properly. You can do that with a trowel by hand, or a square shovel works out very well for doing that. Next, in step 2, you're going to put EdgeCrete into a wheelbarrow. Typically, most contractors are using 2 bags of EdgeCrete, which then means you need to add 1 gallon of water, mix that thoroughly, and when you do that, this is what the mixture should look like. It will look fairly dry. You also could use a rotary mixer instead of the wheelbarrow. Here we're going to show you just how dry the mix really is. This is 1 bag of EdgeCrete, and we are applying 1/2 gallon of water to that. He's going to mix that up. In this case, he's just using a garden hoe. So it's going to be a little bit slower than it would be perhaps with a square shovel, or even better yet, a rotary mixer. But you will notice very quickly that the water gets absorbed into that EdgeCrete. And you just have to keep working that mixture back and forth, or in the case of a square shovel, just keep turning it over and over. And you will find when you do that, that you actually get the water dispersed evenly throughout the mix. Do not add more water. It's not necessary. EdgeCrete is designed for 1/2 gallon of water per 50-pound bag of EdgeCrete. Everything will get dispersed and will be just perfect in that mix. And you can see here, with 1/2 gallon of water and proper mixing, the water is distributed throughout the mix design. Step 3, we'll take a flat shovel and we're going to distribute the mixed EdgeCrete along the perimeter edge of your pavers or natural stone, placing it on that nice flat area that we've dug out and removed all of the bedding material from that. You're going to place it in shape there. You will notice on the far right-hand picture here that the EdgeCrete has a very low slump. It's only a 1 to 2 inch slump. It will form by itself. Also note the fibers that are visible in this shot. On step 4, you'll take a hand trowel and form a triangular shaped profile to the edge of EdgeCrete, staying down 1 inch to 1.5 inches from the top of that edge of that paver or natural stone. You can form approximately a 45-degree angle. The 5th step will be to run your compactor over the top. After you've got all your cuts in place, you've got your EdgeCrete in place, even though it's not cured, it's fine to go ahead and run the compactor over that edge. Compact the surface just like you normally would. Then you're going to install polysweep or jointing sand or perm chips depending on your system. Go ahead and put that jointing material into place. The last step would be to backfill that. Black dirt, wood, mulch, decorative stone, whatever it might be, go ahead and place that up next to that fresh EdgeCrete. You do not have to wait for that to cure. EdgeCrete is rain safe in 5 hours. Walkways can be backfilled immediately and used. Driveways can be backfilled immediately, but we should wait 48 hours before subjecting them to the loads of a driveway. EdgeCrete is concrete, and it does take 28 days to fully cure. Avoid walking and driving near the edge until EdgeCrete is fully cured. If you have a project that you think needs some added strength to it in terms of its edging, you can incorporate a piece of bidirectional grid underneath your pavers and let it protrude up through the EdgeCrete as shown in these pictures, and that will add some additional strength. Notice how the EdgeCrete protrudes out through the edge. You can cut that off, and that'll all get buried with your mulch or dirt or stone, whatever the case might be. Also, in the far right-hand picture is a good example of how the attachment of EdgeCrete to your base material. This is all the base material that was in this particular project. Next, let's watch a video of a project from start to finish with EdgeCrete.
Hi, I'm Jay from SEK Surebond, and today we're going to talk about EdgeCrete, paver restraint in a bag. We have a hardscape project that's well underway, and now that the pavers are installed, we're ready to lock it in with EdgeCrete. Let's talk about what makes EdgeCrete the best concrete edge restraint in the industry. It all starts with the unique way EdgeCrete is engineered and manufactured in our state-of-the-art facility right here in the USA. EdgeCrete is a special blend of Portland cement with 2 types of fibers and added polymers. The large and small fibers help reinforce the concrete mix to hold it all together and resist cracking. The added polymer gives EdgeCrete flexibility and superior strength for extended life and performance. EdgeCrete produces consistent results every time when properly mixed. We make it easy with our water management chemistry. Just use a half gallon of water per bag. EdgeCrete is simple to install and can even be installed in light to moderate rain. EdgeCrete's packaging creates very little job site waste, and the bags can be recycled in most areas. Before installing EdgeCrete, let's review the ICPI best practices for hardscape installation. EdgeCrete is ideal for both open graded and standard base installations. Be sure to extend the aggregate 6 inches past the perimeter of the paving area, or the measurement of the base depth, whichever is greater. You will need a wheelbarrow or rotary mixer, square shovel, trowel, a water source, and a gallon-sized water container. For efficient mixing, pour 2 bags of EdgeCrete into the wheelbarrow or mixer. Because we are mixing 2 bags of EdgeCrete, we will need 1 gallon of water, which is a half a gallon of water per bag. Pour the water, dispersing it over the top of EdgeCrete in the wheelbarrow. Use a square shovel to fold and mix EdgeCrete and the water together until all dry contents are consistently blended with the water. The mix will appear dry and produces a low slump when properly mixed. Before you install EdgeCrete, use a trowel or square shovel to remove the bedding material to expose the base material. Now, take the square shovel and distribute the mixed EdgeCrete alongside the edge of the surface. Using a steel trowel, smooth out EdgeCrete, forming a triangular-shaped profile that extends about halfway up the paver. To complete the project, continue mixing additional EdgeCrete as needed. Then, distribute and trowel it into place. If EdgeCrete comes in contact with the surface, clean it off immediately with a wet rag or brush in water to avoid staining. Before EdgeCrete dries on tools, clean immediately after use with water and a brush. Now, it's time to finish the project by compacting the surface and installing joint material. The final step is to backfill with topsoil, mulch, or decorative stone. EdgeCrete is rain-safe in 5 hours and fully cures after 28 days. Walkways can be used after backfilling. Driveways can be used after 48 hours. Avoid walking or driving near the edge until EdgeCrete has fully cured. For more information about EdgeCrete and all our professional hardscaping products, visit us online at sek.us.com.
In addition to EdgeCrete and its simple instructions, we also have other resources available to you, the contractor. We have a complete staff of professional salespeople across the United States. Feel free to contact them for more information about EdgeCrete or any other SEK SureBond product. You can also contact us at 800-932-3343 or seek out information on our website at www.sek.us.com. Thank you very much for joining us today for the EdgeCrete webinar.